My name is Amanda Ring, and this is Flight of the Feminine. Here on Flight of the Feminine, I'm inviting you to explore and reclaim all things feminine, the divine and the dark. To awaken your womb and heart consciousness, I'm inviting you to open to the realms of energy and spirit, to evoke empowerment and create sovereignty. As a sacred soul, each one of you are on this journey through life. Well, here we are. Episode 1. A whole new chapter for Seven Feathers and a big leap off of the tree of life for me. This podcast has been in the creation cauldron of my womb for at least 3 years now, just gestating along. And yep, I'm going to say woo shit just like that, and I might swear it's going to happen. So just be prepared. Life truly does orchestrate things in a divinely timed way, often beyond our current perception, yet still connected to our deeper knowing. And hindsight most often offers us that validation. As I continue to develop a relationship with my own inner wise woman, I have learned to trust that knowing and the great mystery she weaves within. And when I heard it is time, I took the leap. And here we are. My name is Amanda Eloise Ring. Eloise is my mother's name, and her second name is her mother's name. I am blessed with 2 children, a boy and a girl, and my eldest is my daughter. And I didn't give her my name as her middle name. I broke the tradition. This might seem innocuous. It's not. Countless times in my life, I would check if what I was doing, saying, wearing was okay. But okay for whom? Always others. This was another seemingly subtle yet important personal choice which nurtured my embodiment of authenticity and self-liberation. I'm the lineage healer, the trauma cycle breaker, following on from what my parents had already shifted. Yet I am the one remembering and reclaiming the deeper, ancient, healthy, feminine wisdom of my lineage and for my lineage. Was I nervous? Did I feel pending guilt when considering breaking that tradition? Yep. And I still moved forward with what felt best and right for me and my daughter. And honestly, there was and is no lack of love for my mother or family in choosing to do so. I love my mother dearly, and we've been on a healing journey together for many years now. It simply didn't feel right. I had that feeling, the intuitive poke in my core. Well, actually, from within my womb, that I was meant to do this my way, which was in no way a disrespect to the ways of others prior to my current lifetime. It just simply wasn't my way. And this was not the first time I did things my way or the last, and many times my choices have been not understood. I now know that poke, that intuitive hit, was from my inner wise woman, my feminine intuition. I've danced with her thousands of times since, sometimes in full graceful step and other times in a convoluted heap on the floor. In this episode, I will share more about my personal journey, the heart-based work I offer through my business baby, Seven Feathers, and my hope is that you will find resonance a sense of solace, hope, inspiration, or at the very least, it will pique your curiosity about your own life and path with the feminine. Growing up, I lived both a beautiful and somewhat painful and confusing childhood. And really up until I was well into my 20s and maybe longer still. It truly was both. I was wanted, loved, and supported. And there is an and. I grew up in a small rural fishing village, which I both adored and struggled to feel at home in. Nature was my sanctuary and where I felt most connected to myself. I never felt like I quite fit in there or even in my family in some ways, like I'd been plopped into this life where I felt oddly connected elsewhere. And I sensed way more than I could ever explain or dared to tell. The land and the wind spoke to me. I saw spirits in the windows of houses. I felt the pain of the people we visited. I had vivid dreams that left me unsettled and sometimes homesick for places that were not my actual 3D home. My soul is very old. I remember this being a common comment in reference to me even as a child and how mature I was for my age. It's true. I have lived many, many lives as a soul. I'm one of the old ones. And I now know so much more on both soul and human levels as to why I lived through all that I have to this point, the incredible, the devastating, and everything in between. And I want to be clear on a few things now and invite you to lean in with me and consider ways to look at your own life through spiritual lenses, as I do my clients, and that I still ask of myself. Do you have regrets? Because I don't. I have no regrets. I don't wish anything to have been different. I chose it all as part of my soul journey, even the worst of it. I know this. The deep feminine knowing. I chose to evolve as a soul and help humanity in the process. And some of the key people related to my breakdowns and breakthroughs are still part of my life and communities. So as I move along and through my journey, I choose integrity and honesty as pillars for my personal path. Not only for them, but for myself. So there will be times on these shows where I won't share every detail out of respect and integrity. And then there are going to be times when I do, because that integrity and respect is for myself. One other thing I invite you to lean into is that these trials and tribulations of life and the healing journey is not about blame. It's about understanding and ascending what was. It's about allowing space for what needs emotional processing, for trauma to get integrated, to claim your own truth and live more authentically. These things create connection, empathy, and resilience. It's a process of self-realization, and that is the higher soul self. And it's a process of self-mastery, which is where we gain awareness of this lower egoic self. There were key moments in my journey where it became glaringly obvious that I was not living my life for myself. Things I had learned that helped me understand why I did this and how this happened, I have an understanding of now. Like, I'm an empath with a primary fawning trauma response, a parentified child, and a highly sensitive old soul. 2 decades ago, I had no understanding of any of these concepts. I just knew I felt unseen, frustrated, alone, exhausted, and scared a lot And I hid it really well because that was both my learned coping survival strategy and also it's my deeper innate nature to be optimistic and trusting and in awe and in love with life. Let's fast forward through my formative years and leaving home. I went further and further away geographically. I studied away. I eventually moved to Europe for my relationship, which is now my ex-husband. I got married. I moved back to Canada to support my husband's dreams, had 2 kids, moved back, quote unquote, home, renovated a house, and realized I was gone. Completely lost to myself. My inner light was barely a spark. All of my energy was going out to everyone else and fulfilling all the roles and life trajectories I was supposed to as an educated woman, wife, and mother. 2 degrees, had traveled the world, married to a handsome doctor, set for life. Right? Wrong. However, don't get me wrong. I have gratitude beyond measure for the privileges and opportunities I've had thus far in my life, and I've worked damn hard for many of them. My beloved children are by far the greatest gift I could ever received. And even though I was a devoted parent, still am, partner, therapist, and all the things, I wasn't living as my authentic self with a capital S. I was a semblance of the version everyone else in society wanted me to be. Things had to change or I would fully disappear into a life that I was not meant to live. And it was at that point when all of my inner knowing, all of the ways my inner wise woman had been showing me and calling to me for years flooded my awareness. And I knew I needed not just to find, but to create a new way forward for myself, for my children, and for the collective of others, other women who were living a life that was not their own. So once again, I broke with tradition. It was terrifying and exhilarating. I was moving towards true alignment with my heart and soul path in this lifetime. I left my marriage and 16-year relationship with my children, and a whole new realm began to open. And the one I was destined to find. And through all the trials and tribulations I was meant to go and grow through. I dove headfirst into my own healing, began digging through the layers to figure out who the hell I was. I followed my heart. I opened to new learning, found my true voice, began taking back my power, the power to be myself, as I let the process of unbecoming truly begin. I saw glimpses of her, felt her essence encouraging me to give myself permission to return to my inner child self and the wise woman that lived within. And I'll never forget the moment I was laying on my bed, looking at the ceiling, finally in a house and home of my own, and a resounding awareness, the kind like you feel when you suddenly wake up from a deep sleep, happened. I didn't feel discombobulated and forlorn. It was a crisp and clear feeling that landed all these truths that were just wafting through my being. This is my life, like mine. I matter. I get to decide how I live my life. What I want and don't want matters. My voice matters. I'm allowed to be different. And I want to be different. I want to be me. Compromise, shape-shifting, and adaptation had become an art form for me. Now knowing my human design, for those human design geeks out there, I'm a splenic manifester, and knowing my trauma responses, I can see how I easily fell into that, and it became an unhealthy pattern for me, living for others. But now I embrace my natural sensitivity and empathic nature as a gift that allows me to do the incredible work that I do as a medicine woman, a healer, a coach, a mentor, and a guide. As I was starting over, I made a vow to myself that I would never abandon myself again. I would come out of hiding to myself and light my fire. I wanted my children to have a mother who was modeling authentic, intentional living and embodying her spiritual nature and personal truths. A woman who not only liked herself, but loved herself and believed in herself. A woman who honored herself and went after her dreams. Through this transformation process, I had to unveil all of the ways I was doing the exact opposite of all of that. So, as part of this journey of self-realization and spiritual awakening, I discovered, and still am, that much of the wisdom I had been seeking outside of myself was already within. Yes, I needed transformational, spiritual, and empowering experiences to awaken and to bridge and nurture this wisdom into my awareness, into my consciousness. And this is where the wise woman flows in. She flows up from within, not only for me, but for you and for humanity. There has been a great imbalance in the psyche and lived experience of humanity globally for hundreds of years, if not longer. The oppression and suppression of the feminine wisdom has led to a dominance of patriarchal energy that has fractured the sacred union within everyone, regardless of race, gender, or age. And I really want to be clear on this. The patriarchy is a system. This is not about hating men, rejecting the masculine. The patriarchy is a system. Yes, one largely historically dominated by the masculine. But what is most important to focus on is how that system functions. It's a system rooted in comparison, competition, power over others, the use of shame, fear, and blame tactics to motivate change and to coerce creation. The detriment of the patriarchal machine has impacted everyone. It's time for the balance to be restored because the feminine also lives within everyone. The feminine energy thrives with the connection to and respect for the earth, her elemental and cyclical wisdom. And the essence of the feminine is a flow state. It's inquisitive. It prioritizes the felt senses, feelings, emotional intelligence, the sensory world, embodiment, reciprocity, community, interdependence. It highlights and prioritizes connection, intuition. The feminine energy is essentially the right brain. It's the creative flow, visioning. And power in the feminine energy is the power within and the power without, in balance, not one over the other. It's about being connected to the spiral of healing and the flow of ever-evolving life. Openness to creation and motion, the divine and the dark, wild, unpredictable at times, and also filled with the most incredible synergy and synchronicities. This is the personal and professional work I'm passionate about unearthing, cultivating, and sharing. I'm still discovering, welcoming, and learning to trust my feminine wisdom. Mining within the void of the feminine where all life lives, foraging the feminine energies for pearls of wisdom and the juiciness of life. The wise woman archetype is the elder woman, the seer, the medicine woman, the embodiment of all stages and phases and manifestations of life as one, unified, whole, and able to evoke any part of herself at any time. She holds the wisdom of ages deep within and offers guidance to each of us who wants and needs to create a new way forward. And she calls you to lean in. Okay, that feels like enough. Join me for future episodes every second Friday to explore ways to unveil and nurture your own wise woman connection. To honor yourself more, heal from within, reclaim your power, open wider, fly higher. If any of this is resonating with your sacred feminine heart, check out my website, amanda-ring.com. Check out my blog posts and absolutely check out my online course, Wise Woman Awakening. It lives on the Seven Feathers Healing School. There's links at the website for that too. There's lots of juice for all of you there as well. Our next episode, Thoughts Become Things, will be one you don't want to miss. So mark your calendars and join me then. Episodes for Flight of the Feminine drop every second Friday, so make sure that you are marking your calendars. Please like and share, and check out my website, my Instagram and Facebook feeds, and online courses for all of the resources that are there for you to support your own healing journey. It's time, my sisters, to elevate your mind, expand your feminine heart, explore your inner wisdom. Let's soar together. Sending you all big, big love.
This is Story Studio Network.